On June 19, 1986, the basketball world was shaken. Len Bias, drafted just 2 days earlier as the second overall pick by the powerhouse Boston Celtics, tragically passed away from cardiac arrhythmia caused by a cocaine overdose. The news came out of nowhere, leaving fans and players in utter disbelief. Bias wasn't just another prospect. He was heralded as Michael Jordan's equal. Standing at 6'8", he possessed extraordinary physical gifts, a silky shooting touch, and a relentless competitive drive rivaled only by Michael Jordan. This rare combination of talent had the Boston Celtics envisioning him as the key to extending Larry Bird's prime.
Larry Bird said that if we draft Bias, he's going to come up to the rookie camp. That's right. He was very, very high on Bias, as Casey was, and Jimmy, and the owners, Alan Cohn and Don Gaston. They're all high on him, and he's the guy we wanted, and we got him.
And perhaps even as a challenger to MJ for the title of the greatest of all time. But with one wrong decision, a career brimming with promise was gone in an instant. In this video, we'll explore the stories of NBA players whose careers were ruined, or nearly ended, by head-scratching decisions. And we'll start with Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant, once touted as the future face of the league. A high-flying guard of the Memphis Grizzlies, known for his gravity-defying dunks and brash confidence. His team was supposed to be the next great dynasty, or so they thought.
We were able to, create something like this and, keep building this dynasty and keep building this dynasty.
What?
Boasting a deep roster, thanks to hitting on consecutive lottery picks, the Memphis Grizzlies embodied the grit and grind team of the early 2000s and were among the top teams in the Western Conference, poised to make a deep run. Then, on March 4th, 2023, an Instagram live video surfaced of Morant waving a gun in a strip club. Everything went downhill. The NBA suspended Morant for 8 games without pay, for conduct detrimental to the league. Despite the distractions from his off-court issues, the Memphis Grizzlies maintained its high seed. Ja would eventually return in time for the playoffs, but injuries derailed his season as the Grizzlies were humbled, losing to the eventual conference finalists, the Los Angeles Lakers. Unfortunately, this wasn't the only time Morant got in trouble. During that offseason, another Instagram live video showed Morant flashing a gun inside a vehicle. Memphis then suspended Ja from all team activity, pending league review, which prompted Nike to remove his signature shoe from their website. Things could have been worse for Ja, but fortunately, Nike didn't terminate his contract and continued its support despite all the controversy. You could say that Ja dodged a bullet. Despite his growing list of off-court issues, he still has his signature shoe, and is back playing for the Memphis Grizzlies after an injury-riddled 2023-24 season. Kevin Porter Jr. is another player who came close to ruining his NBA career with one wrong decision. He was supposed to be a future cornerstone of the Houston Rockets, who took a chance on him despite his troubled past. At first, it seemed like the gamble paid off. He straightened out his act and delivered the best basketball of his career, showing flashes of brilliance on the court. That offseason, Houston rewarded him with a 4-year extension worth over $82 million. However, only $15.86 million was guaranteed, a cautious move, given his history. It was still a golden opportunity, though, a chance to secure generational wealth and cement his place in the NBA. But the promise of a bright future came crashing down as he failed to escape the shadows of his past. On September 11th, 2023, everything unraveled. He was arrested on domestic violence charges, later escalating to allegations of assault and strangulation, the incident involving his girlfriend, former WNBA player Kajsa Gondrezic, according to reports. Upon arrival, officers were informed that a 26-year-old female sustained a laceration to the right side of her face and was complaining about pain to her neck. A preliminary investigation on scene determined that a known individual struck her multiple times upon her body and placed his hands around the neck. Although Kevin Porter Jr. avoided jail time for the incident, the fallout nearly cost him his NBA career. The Houston Rockets quickly moved on, trading him, along with 2 second-round picks, to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but OKC didn't see him as part of their plans and waived him. With his reputation in tatters, Porter was out of the league for the 2023-24 season. It was a dramatic fall from grace for a player once seen as a franchise's cornerstone. However, his story didn't end there. The Los Angeles Clippers decided to take a chance on the troubled but undeniably talented guard, signing him to a 2-year contract. While far from his previous heights, it was a second chance to keep his NBA dreams alive, a lifeline for a player still fighting to rewrite his narrative. For our next player, one wrong decision didn't just derail his career, it cost him everything. Jontay Porter might not be a household name, but his story is one of squandered potential. Recently, Porter was handed a lifetime ban from the NBA after pleading guilty to serious gambling violations, a decision that prematurely ended his basketball career. For those who don't live and breathe basketball, Jontay Porter is the younger brother of Denver Nuggets star Michael Porter Jr. But unlike his brother, Jontay's path to the NBA was filled with setbacks and heartbreak. He was a skilled 6'11" big who could shoot and wanted to make a splash in the NBA. However, his journey was nearly derailed by a series of devastating injuries to his MCL and ACL, serious blows for any athlete, let alone one with NBA aspirations. After tearing his ACL again, Jontay declared for the draft, and the Memphis Grizzlies took a chance on him. But his struggles didn't end there. He was waived before ever finding his footing and spent the next 2 years in the G League. Finally, the Toronto Raptors offered him a lifeline with a 2-way deal. It was a glimmer of hope and a testament to his perseverance. A player who refused to give up, no matter how steep the climb. That's what makes his story all the more heartbreaking. After fighting so hard to reach the NBA, one wrong decision would cost him everything. On March 25, 2024, ESPN reported that Jontay Porter was under investigation by the NBA following multiple instances of betting irregularities over the past several months. The games in question were the January 26th game against the Los Angeles Clippers and the March 20th game against the Kings. Using his relative obscurity as a shield, a plan was set in motion. Jontay Porter sent insider tips about which games to bet on. The scheme worked, at least for a while. One bettor reportedly turned $80,000 into $1.1 million, as highlighted by AM Hoops. But the spotlight grew even brighter after the March 20th game against the Sacramento Kings when bets on Jontay Porter unders earned millions more. That suspicious windfall triggered an NBA investigation. The league's rules are crystal clear. Players are strictly prohibited from wagering money on any NBA or G League games. Yet Porter, who had scratched and clawed his way back onto an NBA roster, risked not just his career, but potential prison time by breaking that rule. Why? The shocking answer lies in his past. In the years leading up to the scandal, Porter had reportedly accumulated a massive gambling debt. He was a VIP bettor on FanDuel, spending millions on sports betting, though allegedly not on basketball. But who knows? When his NBA salary couldn't cover his mounting debts, Porter saw this as his way out. Unfortunately, this desperate gamble cost him everything. Gambling isn't the only vice that has ended NBA careers. Bringing a firearm into a locker room can be just as career-ending, if not worse, and in this infamous case, both vices collided. Former Washington Wizards teammates Gilbert Arenas and Arenas-Crittenton found themselves at the center of a shocking incident involving guns in the team locker room. The altercation stemmed from a heated dispute over a card game played during a team flight. As detailed in Karen Butler's memoir, Tough Juice, My Journey, from the streets to the NBA, tensions boiled over when Arenas pocketed $1,000 that Crittenton believed was rightfully his. Butler stayed behind to restrain the two, but they continued to argue until the plane landed, which resulted in the following exchange. "I'll see your expletive at practice, and you know what I do," Gilbert said. "What the expletive you mean, you know what I do," replied Javaris. "I play with guns." "Well, I play with guns, too." The two weren't kidding, according to Butler. Arenas showed up in practice 2 days later, with 4 guns he displayed for all to see, which led to this exchange. "Hey, MF, come pick one," Gilbert told Javaris while pointing to the weapons. "I'm going to shoot your expletive with one of these." "Oh no, you don't need to shoot me with one of those," said Javaris, turning around slowly like a gunslinger in the Old West. "I've got one right here." He pulled out his own gun, already loaded, cocked it, and pointed it at Gilbert. At that point, all the players scattered except for Butler, who convinced Crittenton to put the gun down or risk ending his career. Arenas, however, later denied this version of events, offering a more subdued account of their feud. I respect Karen Butler's book and got my copy, but the guns in the locker story is false in his book. Butler and I were asleep. JaVale McGee, Crittenton, and Earl Boykins were playing cards by the time I woke up. Crittenton was balls deep in losing, so I decided to join the game. So Crittenton got booed, which means he didn't get one book while playing spades. so he had to match the pot, which was $1,100, but $800 was his, so he just lost $800, and the pot now is at $1,400, and $1,100 of it is his. JaVale won the first $1,100 pot, so he scooped the money. Boykins asked JaVale, "Can I get my $200 now since you have money?" JaVale said, "After we land. I don't want to jinx myself." Crittenton spazzed. "Give that guy his money. You just won my money. Pay that guy." So I jumped in. "Damn, dog, that's between them two guys." He turned to me and said, "Screw you." I said, "Shoot, you owe me $200. I think you owe Karen $300, but we didn't say anything." Then, from there, Arenas said things escalated between him and Crittenton. He pops off again. "Oh, screw you. You would try to money talk somebody. So now it's my deal." So Earl said, "I'm out." JaVale said, "I don't need no cards." Crittenton needs 5 new cards, so most likely he was about to match the pot once again. So I said, "I'm out." Knowing JaVale has a king, queen. Since it's Crittenton's money in the pot, there's no need to fight if he gets booed. So I showed my hand, and Crittenton got mad I had 3 trump cards and didn't fight with him. So he screams, "Misdeal!" Gil showed his hand. JaVale said, "Screw that, I win. I have ace, king, queen." So Crittenton tries to use misdeal as a way of starting the handover. So I said, "Y'all figure that out." So I walked to the back. They continued arguing, but Earl convinced them that JaVale had won. Crittenton yells out, "That's a misdeal!" So I yelled back, "Come get the stuff with your hands if you want a misdeal." So when the plane lands, Crittenton walks back talking tough, saying, "If we were in the streets, I'll pop you in your knees." I said, "Shoot, I'll give you the guns to do it on Monday." It was Saturday. We had Sunday off. Arenas continued and said that he brought 4 unloaded guns with a note, "Pick one," before the rest of the team entered the locker room. Someone called 911 and the rest is history. No matter which version of the story you choose to believe, the consequences are undeniably severe and career-altering. Both players were suspended for the remainder of the 2009-10 season, costing Arenas $7.5 million in salary, and Crittenton $670,000. Arenas also lost a $40 million endorsement deal with Adidas and was traded to the Orlando Magic the following season. His career quickly declined, and he was out of the league by age 30. As for Crittenton, his NBA career ended shortly after, and his troubles didn't stop there. He was later convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 23 years in prison. What started as a $1,000 bet ultimately derailed 2 careers and serves as a cautionary tale of how poor decisions can have life-altering consequences.